Hello, I'm Dr. Nick, the Incrementalist, and today we're going to be talking about cholesterol. This is part of a two-part series. The second one will be on statins. One of my viewers asked me to cover off both of these subjects. I think they're related. Today we're talking about cholesterol. So what is cholesterol? It's a lipid, modified form of a steroid, and it's an essential part of our body functions. One of the things that people seem to be confused about is where it comes from. There's a lot of discussion about eating cholesterol and reducing that. Well, if you only ate 200 milligrams of cholesterol in a day, your body would actually make an additional 800 milligrams because we need it. So if you're not eating enough of it, then the body makes up. So it's not all about diet. It's also an essential component. It makes up a contribution to some of the signaling hormones, progesterone, testosterone, estrogen. So it's something that you have to have in your body. It's also an essential part of all cell membranes. So let's talk about, first of all, the positive things that cholesterol brings to our body. So what are the good aspects to cholesterol? Well, it's actually used by our body. We ingest it, it's part of our diet, and the gut turns it into a molecule that's used to transport it around the bloodstream. One of the interesting things about cholesterol is it's very much like olive oil in some respects. If you poured olive oil into water, it would just globulize. You can't mix it up. So what the body does is it actually wraps it in some proteins that allow that to be transmitted around the body. So that's how we pass cholesterol and those fats in our body into other areas. And that's an important part, and it actually relates to all of these numbers that you get in your report when you have a cholesterol report. So we're going to talk about that in a second. So let's talk about the numbers that you receive in your report. And the first thing to know is that all laboratory results, so when you have your cholesterol tested, you'll get multiple numbers back. And all laboratories produce their normal values. So you should pay attention to the normals that are printed on the report, because they vary depending on the units, depends on the lab. So that's an important element of the measurements. Then what are the different numbers? So we have several that you'll typically see. VLDL, which stands for very low density lipoprotein. That's one of the molecules that's created that allows you to transfer around this cholesterol. And as it does, the tissues take out the cholesterol, the fatty acids are extracted from the molecule, leaving more cholesterol, and it turns into LDL. So that has a higher content of cholesterol in the molecule, which is why it's deemed bad. Although it's not really bad, it's just a molecule that's used for transmission. So don't perceive it as bad, it's just that the number helps guide us, and we have some sense of what the normals are. And then we have HDL, high density lipoprotein. That's the one that people talk about is good. And again, it's not really a good or a bad thing. What it is, and the reason that we call it good, is what it typically does is takes the cholesterol out of the body and brings it back to the liver for excretion, which is what people are trying to achieve, to reduce our overall cholesterol. So when you think about your numbers, the most important thing to do is to look at the values. That's your incremental step number one. You can also think about the ratio. You'll probably see that. That's the total cholesterol divided by the good cholesterol, the HDL. The higher that number is, the worse it is for you in general. It's just an easy way of processing the results to say, is this good or bad? But really, it's more important to look at all of the numbers and look at them in the context of your overall health. And especially look at the changes. So are they improving, getting worse? Are you getting more of the good cholesterol measures and less of the bad? Is a good thing. Overall, focus on those numbers, have them tested on a regular basis, and track the changes and variation over time. That's the most important thing that you can do. Next week, we'll be talking about statins. This week, if you liked the video, if you thought it was helpful, if I could ask a favor, like it in the section below. I'll put some links in to some additional information. Otherwise, I'm Dr. Nick. I'm the Incrementalist. Don't let perfection stand in the way of progress.